This is Louise Hay, and I would like to discuss a few ideas with you. I am a metaphysical counselor, teacher, and healer. I have designed this tape for people like you who have cancer and would like to take an active part in assisting their own healing. I do not heal anyone. The work I do is to help people understand how their own mental patterns are creating their own life experiences, all of them, the good and the so-called bad. Becoming aware of the process of change and how they can take an active part in creating their own changes is very exciting. I believe there is a center of wisdom within each one of us, and when we are ready to make changes in our lives, we attract that which we need to help us. The very fact that you have discovered me and this tape means that you are already in the process of healing yourself. Something inside of you has shifted, and the healing process has already begun. You might say that to yourself. I have already begun the healing process. You see, it is my belief that it is our birthright to be totally healthy and totally fulfilled in every area of our lives. I want to help you claim this birthright. Some of the things I am suggesting to you may sound very simplistic. However, these ideas have been tried many times with great success. They really do work. Please use these suggestions in addition to the work you are doing with your doctor. It will be helpful to both of you. Take a nice deep breath, and if possible, allow yourself to be in a comfortable position while you are listening to this tape. Just let these ideas wash over you. Those that are right for you will become part of you. It doesn't matter whether you understand them all or not, or if they make sense right now. Just let yourself play this tape over and over, even if you are not actually listening to the words. Your subconscious mind will hear and record everything. The word incurable, which is so frightening to so many people, means to me that that particular condition cannot be cured by any outer means, and we must go within to find the cure. I myself have had cancer. This was about 7 years ago, when I had already been doing healing work for several years. Believe me, the first thing I did was to go into total panic, just like everyone else. But being aware that cancer is only the outer effect of a mental pattern of deep resentment that is held for a long time, until it literally eats away at the body, I knew I had a lot of work to do. Now I was being given a chance to prove to myself that what I had been teaching others did indeed work. If I had an operation to get rid of the cancer and did not clear the mental pattern that created it, then the doctors would just keep cutting Louise until there was no more Louise to cut. If I had the operation and cleared the mental pattern that was causing the cancer, then it would not return. If cancer or any other illness returns, I don't believe that it is because the doctor did not get it all out, but rather that the patient has made no mental changes and so just recreates the same illness, perhaps in a different part of the body. I also believed that if I could clear the mental pattern that created the cancer, then I would not need the operation, and so I bargained for time and was grudgingly given 3 months. I immediately took responsibility for my own healing. I read and investigated everything I could find on alternative ways to assist my healing process. I knew I also had to love myself a great deal more than I did, and I had to clear the patterns of resentment that I had held from when I had been a battered and sexually abused child. It was imperative for me to let go of the blame. In addition, I worked with a good nutritionist to totally cleanse and detoxify my body from all the junky food I had eaten over the years. Between the mental and physical cleansing, in 6 months, I was able to get the medical profession to agree with what I already knew, that I no longer had cancer. I know from personal experience that disease can be healed if we are willing to change the way we think and believe and act. Sometimes what seems to be a big tragedy turns out to become the greatest good in our lives, and your experience with cancer can become a positive turning point in your life, too. Listen to what I have to say. Now, I believe that all illness is self-created. Not that we say, I want to have this illness, but we actually do create a mental atmosphere where this dis-ease can grow and flourish. I heard a physician from New York say on television a few weeks ago that if the surgeon operates on a patient without doing something to help them change the cause of the disease, then all the doctors were doing was prolonging the life of the patient until they could create another disease. It is my belief that we are each 100% responsible for every experience in our lives, the best and the worst. We all create our experiences by the thoughts we think and the words we speak. The universe totally supports us in every thought we choose to think and believe. Our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe. You can say it either way. They both mean that what I believe about myself and about life becomes true for me, and what you choose to think about yourself and about life becomes true for you. And we have unlimited choices about what we can think. When we are very little, we learn how to feel about ourselves and about life by the reactions of the adults around us. It is the way we learn what to think about ourselves and about life. Now, if you lived with people that were very unhappy, then you learned a lot of negative things about yourself and about life. However, this is not to blame our parents, for we are all victims of victims, and they could not possibly have taught us anything they did not know. If your mother did not know how to love herself, or if your father did not know how to love himself, then it would be impossible to them to teach you to love yourself. They were doing the best they could with what they had been taught as children. I believe that we choose our parents. Each one of us decides to incarnate upon this planet at particular points in time and space, because we have chosen to come here to learn a particular lesson that will advance us upon our spiritual evolutionary pathway. We choose our sex, our color, our country, and then we look around for the particular set of parents that will mirror the pattern we are bringing in to work on in this lifetime. Then when we grow up, we usually point our fingers accusingly at our parents and whimper, "You did it to me." But really, we chose them because they were perfect for what we wanted to work on overcoming. As very little children, we learn our belief systems, and then we move through life creating experiences to match our belief. Look back in your own life and notice how often you have gone through the same experience. Well, I believe that you created those experiences over and over because they mirrored something that you believed was true about yourself. It doesn't really matter how long we have had a problem, or how big it is, or how life-threatening it is. The point of power is always in the present moment. This means that what you have experienced during your life and up to this moment, you have created by your thoughts and beliefs of the past. However, what you are choosing to think and believe and say today, right here and right now, is creating your future, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, etc. Notice what thought you are thinking at this moment. Do you want this thought to be creating your future? Is it negative or positive? Just notice and be aware. No matter what the problem is, the only thing we are ever dealing with is a thought, and a thought can be changed. Our experiences are just outer effects of inner thoughts. Even self-hatred is only hating a thought you have about yourself. You have a thought that says, I'm a bad person. This thought produces a feeling, and you buy into the feeling. However, if you don't have the thought, you won't have the feeling, and thoughts can be changed. Change the thought, and the feeling must go. Believe it or not, we do choose our thoughts. We may habitually think the same thought over and over so that it does not seem that we are choosing the thoughts, but we did make the original choice. We can refuse to think certain thoughts. Look how often you have refused to think a positive thought about yourself. Well, you can also refuse to think a negative thought about yourself too. It seems to me that everyone on this planet that I know or have worked with is suffering from self-hatred and guilt to one degree or another. The more self-hatred and guilt we have, the less our life works. We find that we have an inability to speak up for ourselves, and we are always trying to please others. The less self-hatred and guilt we have, the better our lives work on all levels. It has been my experience that the very bottom line for everyone I have worked with is always, I am not good enough. And we often add to that, and I don't do enough. Does this sound like you? Always saying or implying or feeling that you are not good enough, but for whom and according to whose standards? Now, if this belief is very strong in you, then how can you possibly have created a loving, joyous, prosperous, healthy life? Somehow your main subconscious belief would always be contradicting it. I find that resentment, criticism, and guilt cause more problems in our bodies and in our lives than anything else. These feelings come from blaming others and not taking responsibility for our own lives. You see, if we are all 100% responsible for everything in our lives, then there is no one to blame. Whatever is happening out there is only a mirror of our own inner thinking. I am not condoning their behavior, but it is our beliefs that attract people that will treat us that way. If you find yourself saying, everyone always does such and such to me, criticizes me, is never there for me, uses me like a doormat, abuses me, then this is your pattern. There is some thought in you that attracts this behavior. It is you that must change the belief that creates the experience. When you no longer think that way, they will go and do that to somebody else. You will no longer attract it. When we want to begin to change a condition, one of the first things to do is to say so. Literally say, I am willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this experience or condition. You can say this to yourself over and over every time you think of your illness. Say this with me now. I am willing to release the pattern in me that has created this condition. The minute you say it, you are stepping out of the victim role. You are no longer helpless. You are acknowledging your own power. You are saying, somehow I may not understand it, but somehow I am beginning to understand that I created this, and now I take my own power back, and I am going to release it and let it go. What a powerful statement to have your subconscious mind supporting. In no way am I trying to create more guilt for anyone. I am helping us to look at what needs to be released. This is a time for healing, for making whole, not for condemnation of any sort. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging mental thought patterns we can have. This kind of thinking creates and maintains dis-ease in the body, Acid-biting thoughts often create acid blood, and your blood is your life force. These thoughts literally eat away at the body. Criticism as a permanent habit can often lead to arthritis in the body. Guilt always looks for punishment and creates pain, and resentment long held eats away at the body and becomes the dis-ease we call cancer. I have found that forgiving and releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. Now this may sound simplistic, however I have seen and experienced it working. As I said, when I was a little girl, I too had a very difficult childhood. I was raped when I was 5 and had several negative sexual experiences while I was growing up. I was a battered child, and I grew up in the Depression. My mother was very much of a victim, and my stepfather was expressing his own brutalized childhood. I am certainly not condoning the behavior of any of the people who mistreated me. However, for me to spend a lifetime just running the old movie, feeling blame and anger and resentment, is not doing me any good in the present moment. Resentment only eats away at me, and did. In my case, holding on to old blame and feeling resentful for all that they did to me, that helped to create my disease. The past is over and done. We cannot change that now. We can change our attitude toward the past, our thoughts toward the past. How foolish for us to punish ourselves in the present moment because someone else hurt us in the long ago past. I often say to people who have deep resentment patterns, please begin to dissolve the resentment now when it is relatively easy. Don't wait until you are under the threat of a surgeon's knife when you have to deal with panic too. If we choose to believe that we are helpless victims and that it is all hopeless, then the universe will support us in that belief, and we will just go down the drain. It is vital that we release foolish, outmoded, or negative ideas and beliefs that do not support us and nourish us. Our concepts of ourselves and of life and of God must support us, not negate us. When people come to me with a problem, I don't care what it is, poor health, lack of money, unfulfilling relationships, or stifled creativity, there is only one thing I ever work on, and that is loving the self. I find that when we really love and accept and approve of ourselves exactly as we are, then everything in life flows. It's like little miracles are everywhere. Our health improves, we attract more money, our relationships become much more fulfilling, and we begin to express ourselves in creatively fulfilling ways. I often ask people to look in the mirror and say, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. When they can't do it or won't do it or find it painful to do, then I know that they are killing themselves with their own critical thoughts. Go to a mirror and try it. See what comes up in your mind. Notice how you feel. This may be the center of your problem, resenting others and not being willing to love and accept yourself. When we won't love ourselves, it just means that we are still believing the old limitations that someone taught us many years ago. Usually that person was someone who did not know how to make their own life work. But remember, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. Loving the self to me begins with never, never, ever, ever criticizing ourselves for anything. Criticism locks us into the very pattern we are trying to change. Understanding and being gentle with ourselves helps us to move out of it. After all, you have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Let's try approving of yourself and see what happens. Self-approval and self-acceptance, right here and right now, are the keys to positive changes. It is also important that we release the past and be at least willing to forgive. We may not know how to forgive, and we may not want to forgive, but the very fact that we say we are willing to forgive begins the healing process. Love is always the answer to healing, and the road to love is through forgiveness. It is imperative for our own healing that we release the past and forgive everyone. The Course in Miracles says that all disease comes from a state of unforgiveness, and that whenever we are ill, we need to look around to see who it is that we need to forgive. I would add to that the very person you find it hardest to forgive is the one you need to let go of the most. Forgiveness means giving up, letting go. It has nothing to do with condoning behavior. It's just letting the whole thing go. We do not have to know how to forgive. All we need to do is to be willing to forgive. The universe will take care of the hows. We understand our own pain so well. How hard it is for most of us to understand that they were also in pain and doing the best they could with the understanding and awareness and knowledge that they had. In order to heal ourselves, we need to be willing to change our thinking, to forgive others, and to learn to love and accept ourselves more. When we refuse to be willing to love ourselves, then we are denying ourselves our own healing. Self-acceptance and self-approval in the now are the keys to positive changes in our future. One of the ways in which we unknowingly deny ourselves love is to make ourselves wrong, to be critical of what we do or do not do. Even using the word should limits us, and removing it from your vocabulary will make a great difference in your life. It certainly has in mine. Let's take the word should and discard it forever, never to be heard of again. Should is a word that makes a prisoner of us. Every time we use should, we are either making ourselves wrong or someone else wrong. We are in effect saying, not good enough, or you have failed, or you are going to fail, or wrong. Begin to listen to how often this word is used and how crippling it is. Let your understanding and awareness grow and make you free. Replace the word should with the word could. Could lets you know that you have choice, and choice is freedom. We need to be aware that everything we do in life is done by choice. There is really nothing that we have to do. There are things that it might be best for us to do. However, we always have choice. So now every time you hear yourself using the word should, let a red light go off in your mind. Then gently allow yourself to release it and let it go. Don't use eliminating should as another excuse to get angry at yourself. All we want is understanding and awareness. You might notice, oh dear, it's 27 times today I've said that. No wonder I'm such a rigid person. Now that would be understanding and awareness and the road to freedom. One of the very worst things we can do is to get angry at ourselves. Anger only locks us more rigidly into our patterns. Sometimes we think we have to be angry at ourselves in order to change. You have been angry at yourself and scolding yourself for years and you haven't changed. That is not the way to do it. Think of what happens when we yell and scream at a tiny child. All the joy goes out of their life. And if we yell and scream at them long enough, they literally shrivel and sit in corners or tear up the room. The same things happen to the little child within us when we get angry at ourselves. We lose our joy. We lose our creativity. We lose our spontaneity. We lose our freedom and our health. We don't need any more anger. We need more self-acceptance and more love. When we can accept ourselves right now as we are right now, without any criticism or judgment, then we are truly loving ourselves, and the negative patterns must dissolve. If we wait until we have the new job before we love ourselves, or if we wait until we lose weight before we love ourselves, or if we wait until someone else loves us before we love ourselves, we are denying our existence right now. If we wait until we become perfect before we love ourselves, we waste our lives. We are already the perfect outer expression of our inner understanding, and we will change. But the changes we make when we love and accept ourselves are always positive, always. So let's release the anger and all those negative beliefs about ourselves and life, and begin the process of accepting and approving of who and what we are right now. We are always unfolding in the best way we can. The knowledge and understanding that you are already incorporating from this tape will help you to change your life and dissolve the negative patterns. No negative condition can remain in our lives when we truly love and accept ourselves. Love is the healing force. Love dissolves anger. Love gets rid of guilt. Love fades away fear. Love for ourselves is the power that heals us. On a physical level, I would suggest that in addition to what your doctor is doing with you, you seek the services of a good nutritionist. You could even go to the health food store and seek advice, or go to the library and read a book on nutrition, or talk to a friend who understands the importance of good food in your diet and how it can help rebuild your body. There are many things you can do to assist in your own healing. Let me repeat, I believe that it is our birthright to be totally healthy and totally fulfilled in every area of our lives. Let us claim and accept that birthright right now. On the other side of this tape, we are going to experience a deep relaxation, and I will help you to begin to create new thought patterns that you can use to dissolve dis-ease in your body and to build perfect, vibrant health. I would like you to play the other side of this tape every night for at least a month. Let yourself go to sleep with it on. Let these ideas permeate your consciousness. You can also play it during the day. You don't even have to listen to it. Just let it play over and over. Your subconscious mind hears and records everything. Practice the suggestions I'm giving you. Take the time to take care of yourself, mentally and physically. Give it a chance. You are worth it. These concepts worked for me, and they can work for you. Express the growing love you have for yourself by lovingly taking care of the miracle you call your body. And you get to feel good in the process. I will see you on the other side of this tape.